Hello and welcome to the Kick in the Creatives podcast, hosted by myself, Sandra Busby, and my fellow creative Tara Roskell, offering you interviews, inspiration, motivation, and a gentle prod in the right direction. And for lots more information, challenges, and other useful tools to help you get creating, you can go to kickinthecreatives.com. And of course, this is where you can also find today's show notes. Enjoy the show. Welcome to today's episode, and today we're going to do a little update on episode 133. So before you listen to this one, if you haven't already listened to that one, I highly suggest you do. But before we get onto that, thank you so much to everyone who's been sharing their work that they've been doing for the challenges on social media. Keep them coming. We love seeing what you're doing. And also a huge thank you to our latest Ko-fi supporters. Your support shows us that you like what we do and you'd like us to continue. And we are going to thank each of you personally next time because I forgot to look. I forgot to look and see who had donated. So I'm sorry about that, but yeah, we'll mention you next time.
And finally, we want to thank our sponsor, Evolve. Evolve can teach you how to paint in a realism style to a professional level in a year or less, and for a fraction of the price of art school. Not only do they provide all the lessons and the support that you need online, they also give you all the materials you need. Now, that would be a nightmare for me because I'd want to go and buy loads more. I don't know about you, but I'm sure you can add stuff to it. So you can watch a free webinar from Evolve by going to kickinthecreatives.com/Evolve webinar. Or if you want to hear more about the Evolve program, you can go back and listen to episodes 67 and 73.
The thing is, webinar sounds so boring, doesn't it? It's actually a full-on painting lesson, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing because I checked it out and thought, wow, I learned loads from that. And I'm an experienced painter.
It's a little mini course, I guess, isn't it? Or mini lesson.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So definitely worth looking at.
Anyway, apart from chatting this morning, we haven't spoken for ages. So tell me, what is new with you?
Yeah, because you've had a break.
Yeah.
And I have tried really hard not to bother you at all while you have a break. And I've done really well.
You have, yeah.
I thought, no, I'll let Tara contact me when she wants to contact me because she must be so bored of my voice now. But yeah, no, it's actually been a really nice break. Both of us have kind of stepped back a bit, haven't we? And just sort of, I needed to anyway, because the whole point of this episode is about the block that I was having. And I think it's done me good to also just think, do you know what? Just going to not worry too much about it. Just going to step back and allow myself a bit of a break. And that's what I've done. So nothing particularly new with me. Only things people would be bored senses of because it's nothing art related. But I have got a painting on the go. So that is what's new with me compared to last time when I didn't have a painting on the go and didn't want one.
What painting have you got on the go?
Well, I am doing a different subject than I've ever done before in that it's not glass. Mind you, I did an egg once actually with a soldier dipping into it. This is actually a stack of donuts, and one of the donuts is sort of torn in half and all the jam sort of dribbling down the side. And you know, I love shiny things, don't you, Tara? I like shiny things, gooey, shiny, anything like that. And basically, what I like about this is the jam, obviously. It's the jam. But I'm going to tell you a bit more about why I'm enjoying it in a minute. I want to, first of all, ask you what's new with you.
Well, I did another art and craft fair.
Yeah.
Which someone had suggested I do. A lady I walk a dog with, she's done it before for a photography company she used to work for. And she said, it gets quite busy there. So I thought, oh, go on then, I'll try it. But to be honest, it wasn't that successful. And I'm actually thinking, I don't know if what I do is a particularly good fit for these things, unless I could find something more niche. Do you know what I mean? More like alternative art or actual art rather than art and craft. So I sold a few prints, but honestly, it was so bloody windy. Do you know, we had a few days, I don't know if you had them down there, but it was literally...
Tara, we really did. It was like...
Did you?
Yeah, it was close to gale. Well, it was gale, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, that's when we were there, that's what it was like. And of course, I was outside in this stall, and they made us take the backing down for the stall because one of them had blown over, basically because either the weights hadn't been put down properly or someone had taken it off.
Right.
So they then said it wasn't, the security there wouldn't let us have the backings on. So there we are there, sitting in the stall, blowing a gale in both sides. I had to take my original paintings down. I had 2 original paintings I had stood up. They blew over. Luckily didn't break the frames. So I had to put them away. So I only had prints out. And so then the next day, they let you bring your own tarpaulin, something that was a bit lighter. So the 2 women who were next to me, they bought one that would fit both. But honestly, it was blowing in so much, I actually got electric shocks, from static on your hair.
Oh, really?
And a tarpaulin. Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, my God.
So yes, it definitely wasn't a financial success, but they were lovely. The 2 women next to me were absolutely lovely. But bizarrely, I think I told you this by text, I sold an original painting to a woman I met while walking our dog.
You did, I know, but just on that same text, I think you'd put something like, I sold a print, and you said...
This is original.
Oh, no, there was, what, £100, was it? Which one?
250.
£250. Right. So I was out when I read that text, and I read it initially as I sold 250 prints. And I was like, oh, no. Oh, my God, that's amazing. I thought you were talking about the art fair. I was thinking, oh, my God, that's amazing. And then I read it. But still, that's brilliant. I mean, who'd have thought? Just literally.
I know.
It's like they say, if you want to find like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, apparently you're more likely to find one in Sainsbury's than you are on an online dating app.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm digressing a bit, aren't I? What happened then? Tell me how that came about.
What actually happened was I was just walking my dog on my own, and then I was coming one way and coming the other way was a woman I know who I walk sometimes with, occasionally with her dog. And then there was another woman who I'd never met before with her dog. And so we stood there chatting for a bit. And then the woman that I know goes, oh, Tara's an artist. And she was trying to find my paintings on her phone.
Yeah.
The woman I know. But she couldn't get on there. I said, oh, I'll show you. And they're on Instagram. So I just gave her my phone and said, oh, yeah, look there. And she goes, oh, I like that one at the top. How much do you sell that for? I said, oh, it's framed at the moment. It's in a gallery at the moment. £250. She goes, oh, I'll have that.
Oh my gosh.
She said, that's nothing. I'll have that. And I go, really? That's my answer. Really? I'm like, she's seen a tiny picture on a phone and she wants to buy it.
God, that's amazing.
I said, oh, it was in an exhibition. So I said, I'm going to have to wait till would you be all right waiting till it comes out of the exhibition? Because otherwise it looks like someone's seen it in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she goes, yeah, I'm not in any hurry. So I texted her the other week and then she came round and she bought it.
That's amazing. Oh, my gosh.
I was like,
you should have said,
God.
Oh, well, I'm doing buy 4, get 1 free at the moment.
Well, she might be interested in some more, which is quite nice.
Oh,
if I'd got some more in a similar colour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, Paul and I went to London not too long ago. In Covent Garden, they have art stalls in Covent Garden, and I thought when I was there, oh, yours would fit perfectly in there.
Really?
I bet it costs
the only
an
trouble with that
fortune.
And getting your stuff there, because I don't want to drive to London. Kevin won't want to drive to London. So then you've either got to get suitcase. A courier or, as much as you can get in the suitcase kind of thing. But you're not going to take originals, are you?
No. I would say mount all your prints.
Yeah.
And have them up and maybe 1 or 2 framed to show what they would look like. But honestly, I just thought, wow, yours would fit in so well.
Really?
Yeah, it really would. But I don't know. I can imagine having a stall for any length of time in Covent Garden would be very expensive. But
I should imagine it is, yeah.
Yeah, it would fit right in. It really would.
So I've also been trying to learn, you'll find this boring, to learn how to do Facebook ads.
Oh, yeah.
Which
That's
I'm a geek and I
Yeah.
quite like stuff like that. So yeah, I've been trying to learn that, but I love that.
You like all that stuff,
I
don't
do.
you?
I'm a complete geek.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to try a bit of a promo that I've been working on. I'm going to try it this week.
Well, I don't like the geeky bit, but you
Yeah.
have to target your audience, don't you, to do that?
You
so
do,
I'd
yeah.
be very interested. How are you going to do that? What when it says what age group and what gender and see now I would target LBGQPRSTUV and all that. Because I think you do so well in the community.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I'm also thinking about, I don't know if you can actually target that. You might be able to target a page. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
So people who like, I don't know, maybe there's a Pride, people who like Pride Festival or something like that. I'm not sure. Because there's so many rules about what they will let you and what they won't let you do. But that was interesting about doing the market, actually, because the people I imagine were going to like my art were not necessarily the people who bought my art. So the first thing when I got there, this woman came past and she was actually going on her way to work and she worked in one of the posh shoe shops that are in the area. And she, I would say she was probably maybe late 50s, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And she stops and has a look, quite normally dressed and everything. And she really liked my work. And she seemed really interested. She took a card and she goes, I'm having my... And it's like, that is not who I imagined as my target. And like the woman who came around here and bought one, she, again, I mean, I would say she's probably in her 50s, similar age to us, maybe. Although I know you'll say I'm older, but yeah.
Let's not forget.
Do you know what I mean? Not forget the year. But you know what I mean? It's like, I thought I had an idea of who might like my work. And then you get these people and think, and another woman who bought prints, actually, I would say she was in her 50s. Quite ordinary looking, as in, she wasn't eccentric looking so it's really quite surprising.
It is often surprising, and I think sometimes that's where we all go wrong, in that we make assumptions, and they're often the wrong ones.
We
so
do,
it's just quite a good idea if you can to experiment a little bit with where you hang your work and where the people you want to see it, because you can't assume anything.
No, it's weird. Anyway, tell me about this art block thing. What's been happening? So maybe you just give a little refresh on what had happened.
Yeah, so definitely go back and listen to episode 133. Anyone who follows us and listens to all of our episodes, which weirdly some people do, will remember or may remember that we were talking about an art block, and it wasn't just a normal art block. It was, I never want to paint again. I might as well pack everything up, pack my studio up. I'll make it into a gym. It's pointless. I'm just not enjoying it anymore. That's how bad it was. And I really did. I even said to you, didn't I feel bad for recording a podcast, because who am I to inspire anyone when I don't want to do it? That's something that's never happened to me before. I've had art. It wasn't even an art block. You can't even call it an art block. It's not like I didn't know what to paint. I just didn't want to paint. And
That is an art block still, though.
I guess so. It was really just the weirdest, strangest thing. I've had it before in the past where I've gone through a bit of a blip like this, and it maybe lasted maybe a couple of months. But this was going on, and I was enjoying not doing it. And I don't know why that was. I still don't really know. Well, I kind of did a bit of soul searching, didn't I? And I did a bit of reflecting. And what I had realised when I looked back over maybe the year leading up to this was we'd had a lot of stress, family-related stressful situations, where I was going into my art studio because that was where I was finding the calm. Because you can't, when you're painting, I've always said, for me, I don't know how it is for you, Tara, but when I'm painting, it allows my mind to just quiet and shut down, and I can only focus on the painting, which is amazing, because it's a bit like, I can read a book, but I can still be writing a shopping list in the back of my head, and I have to read the same paragraph 3 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm painting, it just goes, everything just quietens down, and I just get solely absorbed in that. So it was a very good stress reliever. And I was talking to Paul about this, and he was sort of saying, he was agreeing with me. He said, I think what's happening here is you are going into your art studio feeling very anxious about all the things going on around us, and you're suddenly finding yourself in a situation where you're getting anxious because you're in the art studio, because that's how you're almost, what do you call it, relating.
It's like almost like a trigger, I guess.
Yeah, almost like a trigger. So what had happened is I'd spent so long, a good year, using it as a stress reliever, that what happened was suddenly I walked into the art studio when I wasn't stressed, suddenly feeling anxious, because it was almost like that's what I was used to.
Yeah.
So I feel, and it took me a while to realise that, but I think that is honestly what happened, is that it was nothing to do with me not wanting to paint. I really want to paint, but it was more of a feeling of, oh my gosh, I hate this feeling I'm feeling, and it was coming as soon as I walked in there. So what I had to do since that episode, basically when we recorded that episode, I was just starting to feel a little pull into the art room, wasn't I?
Yeah.
So we decided...
You were talking about cupcakes, weren't you then? Painting cupcakes.
Yeah, I was, and I went off the idea.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't, to tell you the truth, it wasn't that I went off the idea of painting cupcakes. It was just the fact that when we went to London, I bought a lovely cupcake, and I took photos of it and all the rest of it. I just didn't like the photos, and it just didn't seem to work. And then Paul came home one day from our local Sainsbury's with a pile of donuts, and I was like, ooh. And so that's how that went. It was more of an accidental, I think I might want to do donuts. So that's why that came about. But anyway, so I thought, okay, now I understand why I've been going through this art block, bearing in mind the stress and all the crap that was going on is now not happening, and everything's fine and dandy and everyone's okay. It still left me with this feeling, this feeling of panic when I went in there. I don't want to feel like this. I feel awful. I don't want to do this. So I think the first key for me to come out of this art block was trying to understand what caused it in the first place. So if anyone else out there is going through a serious art block, try and pinpoint or look at what's been going on leading up to that point where you thought, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, or I'm blocked, So I've always been interested in psychology anyway, and how the mind works, and so I think that kind of helped me, because I'm quite good at understanding how people think and how the brain works and things like this. So I was already interested in finding out myself why I was feeling like I was feeling. But yeah, once I got to the bottom of it, I thought, right, okay, now I need to figure out, if that's the case, what do I need to do? There's no stress going on at the moment. I've no reason to feel stressed when I go into the art room. What do I need to do to change? Well, the first thing I need to do is just have that break away from the art room, and then just go in there and do things like the ceiling needed repainting. It needs freshening up. My
See, if I had
brushes.
to do that would put me off completely. Going in the art room. I hate doing stuff like that.
I don't like DIY. I hate DIY.
No.
But it was just being in there without feeling I had to be emotionally in there. Because when I'm
Why don't you just put a plate of donuts or something nice in there, so that when you could just go in there, eat a donut, and come back out again?
Oh my gosh, that is so true. That's what you would do with a dog, isn't it? That's what I used to do with Sherlock. He used to be
to associate.
Yeah, he used to be terrified of the Hoover.
Yeah.
So what we had to do is we had to leave the Hoover off and put treats on the Hoover until he'd come near it and eat the treats off the Hoover. Until when I got the Hoover out, he stopped panicking about it and saw it as treats. So then I'd switch on for a few seconds and throw him a treat and then turn it off. And now he doesn't care. I can Hoover a dog shape around him and he doesn't care. He wouldn't want me to Hoover him personally, but he's fine with it. But we had to do that.
Yeah, Paul needs to throw a donut in your room.
Yeah, maybe just fill it with treats.
Or have little donut crumbs leading into your office.
But weirdly though, I hate donuts. I don't like them.
Oh, do you?
No, I don't like donuts. They're too greasy. I don't like them. But you've raised a really good point there, Tara, though. You really have. All joking aside, that's exactly what I'm trying to say here. What I was doing is I was going in there to do non-art related things, but things maybe that I like cleaning. So I'd go in there and clean my brushes. So I'd soak them overnight in Murphy's oil and things like that. And then I'd do the things that meant I wasn't going to go in there to paint. I was just doing little things that I found quite nice to do. And maybe I might light a candle, like a scented candle in there and just do a bit of, I don't know, cleaning or sorting out, organising my pencils and organising my... But I tell you what, chocolate, a ton of chocolate, that would have done the trick. That would have been lovely. So anyway, I started just doing things like that and just not pressuring myself at all to go in there, even having done that episode, knowing I had this episode coming up and really feeling like I need to be out of it by then. Well, actually, that was never going to work because that's pressure. So I just thought, no, I just need to let this take its course and I'll try and help myself out of it.
Yeah, I was just thinking of a similar thing I heard. I might have told you this one before, about people going to the gym. They were trying to encourage people to keep going to the gym. And so they found a audiobook that these people really loved. Have I told you this before?
No.
Yeah, but they they would only let them listen to it while they were at the gym.
Oh,
so
okay.
If they wanted to hear the next bit of the story, they had to go to the gym. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like getting someone in there for good reasons, for reasons they want. Do you know what I mean?
Similar to what Paul did, actually, when he does the cross trainer. He used to have a series on the go on an iPad. Say it might be Breaking Bad or something. And he'd be like, oh, God, I really want to do the next episode. So he'd go down there because he wanted to watch the next episode, but he wouldn't allow himself to watch them outside of that environment.
So that's clever.
He did the whole course on this thing just because of Breaking Bad. So that was funny. But I will go on a bit more about how I came out of it in a minute, but I know that I'm talking about me a lot here, and I want to ask about you.
That's
because
all right.
At that time when we recorded that podcast, you were also going through a block, not to the extent I was, but you were going through a real what do you call it?
I was going through a downer. I wasn't liking any of the work I created.
So how are you about that now? What happened to you since then?
Well, no, I'm just a lot better, and I've realised I think like everybody, mine just goes in cycles, and because I get bored so easily, I think that I create in a certain way, and this is going to sound weird, but sometimes when you get good at creating in a certain way, it then doesn't look as good anymore. Yeah. Does that make sense? Because the spontaneousness has gone from it. Yeah. And so it doesn't look as good as your more spontaneous earlier work. So then all you have to do, I think, is shake it up a bit, and then you can go back to those once you've... So like for me, that was when I changed size of the painting. So I started going bigger. So then I'm trying to readjust. But then, of course, it looks rubbish. So you're going through that, oh, my God, it looks rubbish because you're trying to adapt. Yeah. But you have to go through that looking rubbish again to look good. And then also, I think I've spoken about this before, I discovered Posca mop markers that I actually fell in love with.
On Instagram with them,
Oh, my God. But that brought a new dimension into what I could do, because when you use ink, like acrylic inks, I can only use those on like an absorbent surface, so like a paper or a board. But when you start with these Posca mops, which are kind of acrylic based paint sort of quite runny, you can then take that onto a canvas. You can use that on your boards, and it just opened up things a little bit for me. So I'm still doing the ink drawings, but then I can do those. Yeah, and I think for me, it's just I just have to keep shaking it up. Not a million miles away, so I don't want to go for a million miles away from what I do, but I can't just stay doing the same for too long.
But what's very clever about you is that you do this and you still have the same, you still manage to maintain that same style that says it's one of your paintings, which is so clever. It's so good. And yet you're still shaking it up. I mean, even from what you are now to what you were when we first started doing this podcast, you can still tell it's the same person. It's just an evolved version. Though? I think so, yeah. I do think so.
I'm not sure I can. The only thing I'm missing, well, not the only thing I'm missing, but one thing I feel like sometimes I'm missing at the moment is some overarching themes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if I need something to hang it all on.
Yeah.
But then I don't want to then constrain myself too much, because I started having this thought about doing things on maybe phobias. So like faces, but somehow be wind into like there might be a spider's web round an eye. Yeah, one of the eyes or something. But I thought, yeah, but then I don't want to end up being too literal. Like, say I'm thinking about fear of falling. I don't then want to have a little person falling from the eye. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So it's like, so that would be a theme, but then do I want to continue the theme? Or I had an idea for like doing one on introversion and extroversion.
Maybe you should do a series on called Mood Board, where you put a word in the middle, then you branch off and you put another word relating to the first word, and that's your first theme, and then you then branch off of that word and that's your second theme. And then what happens is that you can go in all sorts of directions with that, but you've got the theme of the mood board where it all came from this first drawing you did.
So start with what sort of word were you thinking?
Well, you could do something random. You could pick something random, or get everyone to suggest a word, to write in and suggest a word. Screw them all up, pull them into a hat, or put them on word generator or something.
Yeah.
Generate that word, and then you create your first painting using that from that, or inspired by that in whatever way you want. And then
that'd be interesting.
From that word, like branch
pick another word.
You pick another word from that, and then, or if you wanted to, you could randomly generate from that word. I don't know, but anyway, I would do it your way, where you just sort of do a branch off and write some words and stuff, and then think, okay, well, that is my next theme, and then keep going and going and going until you've got a series of however many you want, and then call that series Mood Board.
Yeah, or it wouldn't even have to be mood board. I could call it something based on the starting word, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Even? Yeah, that's not a bad idea. You know,
and then you've got themes that you're not trying to think of; they're kind of coming because I don't
mind the idea. I like the idea of thinking of themes, but what I meant was, say for example, so I like the idea of, like, when I was thinking phobias, I was immediately thinking spider, because I just think spider could look quite cool round an eye.
Yeah.
But then I didn't want to go too literal with some of the other stuff. You know, like fear of driving.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And then I quite like the idea of the play on introversion and extroversion, possibly. I thought of, I can't remember how I was going to do it, but I had thought of things for that. Just it was more putting words in it, collaging words. Yeah. But then what do I do from that? That's it. It's not a theme. It's just a theme for one painting.
Whereas if you had a mood board, then you can come off of that, and then you've got a theme, even if it's not really that particularly related.
Yeah, I might try it. I might try a board and just see what words come up and see if I like the sound of any of the words. Or I could try a few boards, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Well, it's the sort of thing I imagine that you would quite enjoy, I think, because you love all that, don't you? I like a mood board.
I mean, I've done stuff before with, as you know, where I've taken a few different words from those and combined them together. Yeah. And put them in a painting. That's quite fun. But yeah, it might be interesting. Just depends what words come out of it, doesn't it?
Okay, this is a quick interruption. As I'm editing, I've just realised I keep saying mood board, and what I actually mean, of course, is a mind map. Just saying. Well, but that's quite good, because if it came out with a word that you're like, what? It kind of then is fun to try and think about how you can associate that, how you can make that work. Thinking outside the box.
Yeah, but I think also you wouldn't necessarily have to take the next branch. You could take a branch and branch off it because you don't like that branch. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. That's what a mood board's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and it's still, and then at the end of it, you could have a word, the word that relates to. You could say the first one.
Yeah.
Was created from X word.
Well, so the first one was spider, because I'm thinking about the phobia of the spider.
Yeah. So let's say, just to be really boring, web. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then,
that's what I was going to do. Yeah, web. Yeah.
Yeah. So say for instance the obvious then, rather than boring, but obvious. And then so maybe that one you could call web, and then the next one you'd go silk, perhaps.
Right.
So you want to perhaps put someone with a silk scarf on their head, I don't know, and then afterwards, when you've got this whole series of say 10 or 20 paintings, you can can line them up and put the words so that people can see how you got to the next one and the next one and the next one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that is quite clever.
Even if there was 2 or 3 words between it, because you came off of various branches to get there, you could put the 2 or 3 words between it to get to your next one. That could be quite an interesting one, actually. But going back to what you were saying about, having to shake things up.
Yes.
Is kind of partly how else I started to come out and want to go in there a bit more. And that is because I would get ready to gasp, Tara. Get your big gasping breath in. So.
You did tell me you were going to start with acrylic paints.
Yes, I did. And that's what I did. So
is that what you're going to tell me?
Yeah. You've totally
sorry.
burst my balloon.
Sorry.
So, what happened was, obviously I work with oils. And oils take quite a long time to dry between each layer. So I was thinking, okay, right. Maybe I need to get those acrylics out, start working with something else that's a similar look, but it's a different medium. So my plan is never to be totally acrylic, but to do most of the layers in acrylic and then do the final 1 or 2 layers in oil. Yeah. Because then I can refine it with my oils. Now, so I got a little bit excited about that. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I need to do. Yeah, and that kind of again got me a bit excited, because I think sometimes for me, a bit like you were saying earlier, once you become
proficient.
At something, you kind of then, you're not challenging yourself anymore, because you know how to do it. You know it's going to be fine. It's going to come out okay. And then it sort of gets a bit too...
It's an anticlimax, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's another one, So I kind of I think I was missing a bit of a challenge. But like you say,
it's like bad sex, Sandra, but I didn't know.
I'm definitely going to have to beep that one out. I'm definitely beeping that one out.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I was thinking, right, I need to shake things up.
You're going to leave that in, aren't you?
I might put it as a blooper. So I was thinking I might shake things up a bit. So that's what I decided to do. I got my acrylics out. To be honest, the acrylics I've got are not ideal, because they're the really easy flow ones, and I think I would be better with the thicker ones. But anyway, that's all I've got, and I'm not willing to spend money at the moment. Not when I'm not sure whether I'm going to carry on with that medium or not. But at the moment, I think I am. So anyway, I started doing the first layer, and I did that in acrylics. And then
how did it feel?
Yeah, fine, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Scrubbed it on, and then gone to the second layer. And I've been thinking, this is not going to be a perfect blended layer, because it's not oils. It's going to be quite shabby looking, and I'm gonna be fine with that. And I have been fine with that. And right now, I've got to the stage where I've got the sort of main shadows and the lightest parts sort of there, and a slight glaze of an indication of colour of jam. That's it as far as I've got. And then what happens? So I'm starting to get excited, thinking, I'm really enjoying this. started getting excited about being back in the art room. And I told you the other day, didn't I? Then a blooming great spanner came, hurtling into the works, and I got tennis elbow. Now, anyone who hasn't had tennis elbow before, it blooming hurts, and it's not your elbow, weirdly. Well, it is, but it stems mainly from the movement in your fingers. They call it a repetitive strain syndrome, I think. It's like a repetitive strain injury, probably from my day job, to be honest. Anyway, so I'd struggled with this for about 6 weeks, but it wasn't affecting my painting particularly. But then it started hurting a lot. So I went to the doctors and I said, I Googled it, obviously Dr. Google. First of all, it told me I was dying. And then when I really got to the nitty gritty, it was tennis elbow. So went to the doctors and I said, look, I've got tennis elbow. I've got this strap to put on. Can you just tell me, am I putting it on right?
You got a strap on.
God, you're on fire today, Tara. So I put this strap around my arm, and yeah, that helped a bit actually. But I said to her, how long is this going to go on, this tennis elbow? And she goes, well, it can be a good couple of years. I was like, what? I said, no. And she said, what I'll do is I'll send you to a physio. I said, yeah, because I can't have this for 2 years. So I went to the physio, and the physio said, right, I'm going to give you these exercises, and it was all this stretching stuff. But the thing is, I was compelled to do it anyway, because all I wanted to do was stretch it out, because that's the only thing that would relieve it. So anyway, I went away. About 3 weeks later, it had got worse and worse and worse, to a point where even holding a cup of tea, I had to hold my left hand, and tilting my wrist was hurting. It was mainly in the morning and really awful at night. So,
what about a beer? Was that any better with beer?
Oh, that was fine, because that was a painkiller. So anyway, so I was struggling with this pain, and it hadn't to that point been affecting my painting. But then about 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, I went in there to do some more of this acrylic. I was painting away for about 10 minutes, and it was so painful. Every time I gripped the paintbrush with any, to get any kind of, I couldn't grip it at all, and it was just hurting. So I had to wash my brushes out. That's what I love about acrylic. Oh my gosh, you can pick acrylic up for 10 minutes and leave. Whereas oils, if I'd have got all of my oils out and all that stuff for 10 minutes painting, I just wouldn't bother, because you've got to wash them all out, the brushes, it takes ages. Yeah. Whereas acrylic, you can just rinse them under the tap. So I'm loving that part of it. I do think acrylic's good for that. But of course, I was not happy only being able to do 10 minutes. So I made another, bearing in mind, I've probably only been to the doctors twice in the last 4 years. I went to the doctors again and said, right, this tennis elbow, you said 2 years. And she said, yeah. I said, okay, I want to show you something here. And because of this, I can't do it. And I showed her my website, my art website. And I said, the only reason I'm showing this website to you is so you understand this is how serious I take painting. And I can't do it. I can no longer do this. And I can't not do this for 2 years. Yeah. And she looked at it. And, of course, she straight away was, oh, my gosh, it's amazing and all this. I said, yeah, but I didn't show you for that. I want you to
Did you sell her one while you were there?
No, unfortunately not. I should have pushed it, shouldn't I? I said, I need you to help me. I can't wait for 2 years. Anyway, so she said, right, I'm going to send you back to the physio. He may be able to do a steroid injection for you. And I had recently spoken to someone who had an injection for tennis elbow, and she said it literally went overnight and never came back. Now, it doesn't work for everyone apparently, but it might well work for me, and if it does, brilliant. Why would anyone want to put up with it for 2 years if you can just have an injection? Apparently it's a really painful injection to have, but I don't care if it gets rid of it. That's fine by me.
So when you having that then?
Well, I've got the appointment at the physio on Friday morning, but she's not sure if he does elbow injections or not. But if he does, he'll do it there and then. If he doesn't, he's going to refer me to somebody who does. So
that's good.
Hopefully that'll be that, and I can get back to it. But I can still do bits and pieces. But of course, normally I'd have been well on the way to my final layer by now, easily. But of course, I'm nowhere near that because of this blooming great spanner. But there you go.
But do you think doing this thing with acrylics is going to speed up your process.
Yes.
If you could paint normally. Yeah.
Yes, it will. And
By how much?
well, quite significantly, because
Yeah.
I can work on an area and go back 10 minutes later if I want to and work on it again.
Yeah.
Well, I could with oils to a degree if I wanted to change it, but ultimately, if I'm going in thin layers and you go over a layer that's already there, you're going to be disturbing the layer underneath unless it's dry.
Yeah.
I don't know what the finished result will be like. I don't know. It might not be what I want, but it's taken my mind off of any stresses I was feeling in there, and now it's like I've got that feeling of, oh, this is a puzzle, and I love putting the puzzle pieces together. It's made me feel more like that again, which is what I used to feel like with oils. Or how am I going to depict this gooiness of this egg, or how am I going to, make this look like that, or whatever. And I've got the same thing now with the donut. I need to figure out how I'm going to describe sugar without having to put every grain of sugar on this blooming donut. So it's quite fun. I'm thinking of that.
But that's because it's acrylic, or that's just because it's a new challenge of a donut?
It's a new challenge of a donut, not acrylic, because I'm just literally, my point with the acrylic is of doing all of the main basic underlayers. It will pretty much look like a cartoon until I get to the top layers, and then I can then go in and create the realism look that I like. So we'll see how it goes. But to cut a very long story short, I am definitely out the other side. I wouldn't say everything's back to complete normal, because obviously it isn't, because I can't paint properly at the moment. But I am excited about getting on with this painting I'm doing and trying to suss it all out. The only thing that worries me is because I haven't done a donut before, I'm a bit like, what if it goes wrong? And that's going to
but that's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? I mean, that's like, you saw me do the street scene a little while ago.
Yeah.
And it's not because I necessarily want to play street scenes, but it's just like, can I do it? How do you do it? It's that your mind needs it sometimes, doesn't it? It needs a challenge.
It does. I think it does. And I hadn't played around with mediums, so yeah.
No, and I reckon it's because what you do, that takes a lot of years to learn to be good at that in the method you paint at, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you've obviously got to that point now where you really know what you're doing, and so unless you really switch it up a little bit, you're just doing the same thing, aren't you?
And I've never wanted to do hyper realism. I would definitely describe there's no denying I do realism paintings, but they are still very obviously paintings. They're not photographic.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do hyper realism photographic type paintings anyway, because then I just there's a part of me that thinks, well, you might as well just take a photo if you're going to go aim for that. That's more of a how that to me, and don't get me wrong, I totally understand why people love to do it. It's absolutely a skill, there's no doubt about it. It's an amazing skill to have, but for me, I prefer to have something that is still a painting, that someone's not saying, is it a photo? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. What about those bums that you painted?
Oh, yeah, if I did those bums now, it'd be about 2 inches higher than it was, because I've been on the cross trainer. I've been doing my bum would
But
look...
do you never want to paint in that sort of way again?
Yeah, well, no, that was a scratch I itched, or an itch I scratched, or whatever you want to call it, and it was fun.
You scratched your bum.
It was fun. Yes, there is a part of me that does want to try something like that again, on a smaller scale, though, and on paper. I feel a little bit stifled by the fact that when the gallery picked up all my paintings, he said, don't start doing anything different.
Yeah.
Like, so yes, it kind
of
of made me...
You don't have to show them, do you? You don't have to show them.
There is definitely an element of me that would love to do more of those on a smaller scale, with charcoal and that kind of mixture between realism and absolute not realism. So that is definitely still something on my mind. And again, that's something I'm looking forward to trying, which is great, because honestly, that episode 133, if you'd have said that to me, I'd have gone, no, I don't want to do anything, Tara. I want to
Yeah.
sell my paints and go, and whoever wants my paintings, have them. Isn't it funny that you
It
can
is,
go
yeah.
to that, so you can sink that to that a level of lowness, you know?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I didn't paint for years, did I? So
No.
how much I went off of painting, and almost probably because I was painting at the time when I did used to paint watercolors, scenes in water, like buildings.
Yeah.
Here's a church, here's a cottage, and sometimes it is that the reason you don't want to do it because you don't like what you were doing.
Also, if you're starting to feel like it's a bit of a job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was putting pressure on myself. So I was thinking, I need to get this done by the end of this month. I need to do this by the end of this, blah, blah, blah. So I was feeling like I needed to be a prolific artist. And to do that, I just was putting too much pressure on myself to finish something within a certain frame of time. And I think that is when it begins to feel like a job, like you, when you talked about that, when you felt a bit like, this is a job now. I don't, and then you sort of didn't, like you say, you didn't paint for years. And then how did you feel when you never actually thought you'd enjoy painting again, did you?
No, I thought that was gone. I thought gone and done. Because I was going off how I was painting when I was at school. So I was painting all these watercolours. But it got to like after my A levels about 18, and I was already kind of going off of that method of painting. And then, of course, college was all very, very creative. But I didn't really find at college the thing that replaced it, if you know what I mean. So it was doing all the little things they set you, but I kind of got almost not led away from the fine art, but we did very little fine art. We did drawing, life drawing.
Yeah.
But we didn't really like now. If I was going to try and encourage people to find what they love doing, I'd set them challenges. I'd say, okay, try doing this for a month. Try doing this. Try doing this. But you didn't really get that at college.
No.
And so I didn't find the thing that replaced it. And then, of course, you start working and I start doing graphics. So then the only thing I used to... This is terrible. All over the years, I've tried to do things to escape from graphics. This is no joke. So I've always had projects on the go. So I've had, I'd try and write a kid's book. Maybe it'd get published and I could start doing graphic design. And then I'd come up with these little ideas for products. Maybe I can do that and sell them and then I won't have to do graphic design. But I never actually thought I would draw again. I'd occasionally, we went on holiday and I'd have a go at drawing, and I had a little stint of painting for a bit as well. But I didn't enjoy it again. It was like painting because maybe I'll really enjoy it if I paint again. Does that make sense?
How did you feel when you put your pen to paper the first time? And what was the moment when you thought, oh my God, I really want to develop this again?
Well, we did that challenge, didn't we? The alcohol challenge. Does alcohol make you more creative? I did that bottle. Yeah. A sketching. Yeah. And it was kind of weird, but I thought, do you know what? I might have a bit of a go at this again. And then we were setting each other challenges, weren't we? Yeah. And then me and Kevin went on holiday it was in the winter actually, and the weather was terrible. And so we spent a lot of time in the house, and I was just drawing things around the house, anything. Yeah. So I was drawing the phone, I was drawing, a lamp, I was drawing. But that would just not have happened for years, sort of thing. No.
And you found it again, so it just goes to show it doesn't matter how.
But then
long
it was challenges. Yeah. It was then, and the only thing that got me to drawing faces was us doing our challenges. Yeah. But yeah,
and so many other people have said the same. The challenges that we set them online has really helped them, which is great. But I think to summarise, really, I feel that in order to get out of a block, my first bit of advice would be to understand why that block came in the first place and really look deep. Look at the few months at least leading up to it, and allow yourself a break. If you are feeling blocked, just allow yourself a break. Even if you say, right, I'm not going to do it for a month, just 1 month off. Just allow yourself that time and don't feel pressured. And it should sort of start coming naturally back. But then if stress is a factor, or the It could be the room you're doing it in.
Oh, definitely. I've told you before about my office, haven't I? Yeah.
It could be just by moving your art materials to a different room might help.
Also, less pressure. I mean, I think what I started off doing when we were doing some of the challenges, do you remember I used to just tear up a load of paper, stick it in a book, and then I'd do like a 5 or 10 minute doodle each morning over a bit of coloured paper. So doing something like that, there's just no pressure in something like that. It's just fun, isn't it? You're taking all the pressure away.
And if you can't move out of that room, put some little treats in there. Do something in there that you enjoy. You know, whatever it is you enjoy that is not art related, could be anything, you know. Then, you know, try doing that in there for a little while, just so you disassociate that room from the stress you were feeling and start associating it with something different again. And shake it up. Shake it up. Do something different.
Do a challenge.
Do a challenge. Try a different medium. I mean, I don't think I can say that one thing has got me out of it. I think it's the several small things that have got me out of it. Do you know what I mean? And a break.
Yeah.
But I
also take...
Go on.
I was going to say, take the time to learn something else. Like, say you're actually intending doing this for a living, for example, or you want to eventually. Instead, so you don't feel like painting, well, take the time to learn how to do Facebook ads like me, or do you know what I mean? Learn how to make a video, because like you're loving making videos at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, that's TikTok. I don't really do the art on TikTok, but I'm doing some other stuff.
No, but it's a creative outlet. I mean, what I mean is,
I have found that with while I was going through this art block. Obviously, I am on TikTok, and what I have found about making videos, regardless of the fact they're not actually related to art, I have found that to be a very creative experience putting the video together.
Do you know what I'd say as well? Before we did Kicking the Creatives, you'd never have done that.
No, I wouldn't. No, you're absolutely right. I wouldn't.
You'd done a video. You did one video, I remember, where you were shaking your bum after painting.
Yeah.
But you would have never got on camera and spoken to the camera.
No. Oh, no. I'd put my bum in front of the camera, but I've had far more compliments on my bum than I ever have my face. But I'd happily put my bum on camera, not my face. No, you're right. But I think partly as well, we did a YouTube channel. It became, I mean, we loved doing it, didn't we? But God, it was a lot of work with everything else we do for Kicking the Creatives, because Kicking the Creatives has been extremely time consuming. And we just found that the YouTube channel, as much as we loved doing the videos, was another amount of time, which was a lot of time putting it all together, where we just couldn't keep that level of focus on that channel up. So we stopped, but they're still out there. But
the shorts, when you're doing short videos, less time, isn't it, at least?
Yeah, and I loved that, and I think that is what made me that is what first got me to realise I actually like doing videos, you know.
Yeah.
Didn't think I could make videos, but I enjoy making videos. Now I'm very much, I'm not camera shy, and the fact that, you know, sometimes if you're going to be doing videos, you feel like, oh, I've got to do my hair, I've got to put a bit of lippy on, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what TikTok's done for me is I've realised if you wait till you look your best to make a video, you're never going to make a video. Just make it. And what's got me out of that is, like, people have been sending me some stuff, face creams and that, to try out. And of course, you can't try out a face cream with a ton of makeup on your face. You've got to be naked. Well, not naked, but your face has got to be naked.
Everyone's now going over to your TikTok.
Yeah, that'll get me some views, won't it? Get my boobs out. And of course, I wouldn't really choose to be plastered across social media with zero makeup on, but I thought, you know what, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? That's what I look like. So does it matter? No. You know, that's the reality of it. You've got hundreds of people doing that with loads of filters on, and I refuse to do that, because I just think it's not a healthy way to be, or a healthy... for
not real,
kids
is
to
it?
be, no, and I don't want to be one of the people that do that, because I don't want kids to think that you don't have lines on your head and this, that, and the other. I don't like that. So that's made me feel a lot less self-conscious because I'm just like, well, I'll just do it. So, yeah. But it's a creative outlet. It's a creative outlet I haven't had. And that's, I guess that, and I think if I hadn't have been doing that, I'd have been going stir crazy because I am a creative person, and I'd have had to find some sort of other outlet if I hadn't have done that.
Yeah, and I just want to send everybody over to either TikTok or Instagram because you made them. This is your personal account, so it's at Sandra Busby Art. Is it that on?
Oh,
Sandra Busby
no,
art?
Sandra. No, I think on Instagram I'm literally Sandra.Busby.
Oh, right.
And on TikTok, I'm also Sandra.Busby. It's Facebook that I'm Sandra Busby Artist.
Oh, right. But yeah, you've got to go and have a look because Sandra made this absolutely genius video that I've just watched. I've watched it at least 10 times, this video now, where you're pretending to be a really pretentious, obnoxious artist, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you interview yourself. So you're sitting there going, oh, you are, and all this. But it is absolutely a work of genius. And once you make videos, you realise how much time's gone into that because your timing on interviewing yourself is just brilliant. So go and watch that video and please share it with everybody because I want those videos to go viral.
Oh, that's nice.
It's not on our Kicking the Creatives, it's on yours, isn't it?
Maybe we should,
put it on Kicking the Creatives as well.
Yeah,
upload it to our Kicking the Creatives.
What, to the Instagram?
Yeah, but put your handle in the thingy as well, just so people know it's you.
Yeah, it'd be good actually. If you are on TikTok, if you did repost it, it would be really good because it's all about timing with TikTok and things like that. And if you don't get the timing right, it doesn't really do much. And honestly, it didn't. You said to me, didn't you? I can't believe it didn't get more.
It annoys the hell out of me because it's so good, and yet someone can throw some paint on a wall and it goes viral.
It's about timing. But yeah, no, I enjoyed doing that video, and it's everything we say about art, the art world, which both of us despise, is that kind of level of pretentiousness you get with some artists who take themselves incredibly seriously, and it just becomes ridiculous. So it was a piss take, really. But I really enjoyed doing it. I love playing a part.
No, it's brilliant. Brilliant.
And the wig was cool.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, check it out. You must check it out. But anyway, I think I've said all I need to say on the art block thing. What about you? Are you all done? Have you said everything?
Yeah, I'm all done. I say I wasn't as bad as you, but I think we should go on to our last question. What do you reckon?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah. So our last question was, you have created a piece of art featuring a person peering in a mirror with a confused look on their face. What do you title it and why? Oh, well, and I've got the first one. Bradley Bergin, self-portrait. I'm always confused. Lol.
I've got Mary Flynn. Yikes, when did I get so old? Yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah, I don't believe it of Mary. I'm sure she doesn't look old. I've got Billy Shinnerer. Who are you? Because the person I am in my mind and the person in my reflection don't always match up.
This is so true, isn't it? Ryan Twittle, Quantum Leap, because that just makes me think of an old show by that name where the main character leaps into different people's bodies each episode to fix something about their life, and he never knew where he was going to end up next. Oh, I'd love to do that. Do you know what, as well, that reminds me of that programme in the 70s when we were kids. You'll remember this, Tara. Mr. Ben.
Oh,
do you remember Mr. Ben?
Oh, yeah, where he used to go in the wardrobe.
No, he used to go in a changing room.
Was it changing room?
And then he'd come out in a different, I don't know, in a different era, place, whatever. I used to love that programme. Yeah.
But that Quantum Leap, they've redone that. I saw people talking about that on social media saying, oh, I love that. But they've redone it.
I've never seen it. I'm really intrigued to know what that's like.
Yeah. No, it was all right. I've got Priya Deshpande. I don't know how you spell that. Sorry. Leap of Faith. It is sometimes confusing to actually see yourself the way you are without taking into account other people's opinions and perceptions.
I love that. That is so, so true. Aisha Guerrero, sorry if I haven't pronounced your surname right. While you were pointing the finger and judging others, you realise, am I too guilty of the same things? Interesting.
Yeah, I've got Penny Marcus. and they say, "Oh, hello."
It's funny. I wondered if you were going to get the context of that. I wasn't sure if you'd just say, "Oh, hello."
They obviously quite fancy themselves. Oh no, it's about the picture.
How you doing?
Not them looking at themselves in the mirror, is it?
Eve marks when, and I guess what she's saying is when did this happen? Like all of us think.
Yeah. I've got Frances Clare, The Stranger, or inspired by the book I've been reading, The Prestige. What has she been reading?
I have Norma Lamming. Why? I'm interested to know why she's, what that's about. Why?
I don't know. I've got Hilary Milner. Where's my glasses? Because I can't see myself in the mirror without them.
Reflections. That's by Frank J. Ferrer.
I've got Beckett Art and Design. Portrait of the artist as an old crony.
Zoe's Art Adventures self-portrait.
I've got Cavalmari 24. What? No? Yes? Oh? Inspired by Louis de Funes.
I've got Ovrandir, Is That a Spot?
I like that one.
Now, I love that one. I think of all of them, that's my favourite.
Yeah, very good.
So we have a brand new question for you, which is, would you rather own a painting that you love with a small price tag and by an unknown artist, or a painting that you dislike with a big price tag by a well-known artist? There is one rule: you are not allowed to sell it. So if you don't benefit by having this financially. So would you rather own a painting you love with a small price tag by an unknown artist, or a painting that you dislike with a big price tag by a well-known artist? Interesting question, don't you think?
Yeah, if I could rent it out, the expensive one, I'd have the expensive one, because that's no mention of renting. But otherwise, you may as well have the other one, ain't you?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't know, you see, because other people would come and go, "Oh, she's got a blah, blah, blah." And da, da, da.
I don't really care about that, though.
No, well, I don't. But there'd be people out there that would like to, people to think, "Oh, I've got I don't know, whatever on my wall." I would, my personal preference, I'd rather have something I love on my wall. I don't really
if
care.
I could sell it, I'd rather have the expensive one.
If I could sell it in a heartbeat, it's an obvious choice, isn't it?
Yeah, because then you can buy the one by the other artist, can't you?
Or if you could leave it to your kids or whatever for someone else to enjoy the money, then of course. But apart from that, I'll be interested in what everyone else says.
Yeah. I reckon some other people might have some clever way rounds this.
Oh, I hope so. I love it when people find a clever way around things.
They'll have a clever way of selling it without selling it.
Yeah.
Right. Where are we now? As always, you can let us know in the Facebook group, which if you haven't already joined, I suggest you do right away. We'll put the question up there and also on the Facebook page and, of course, on Instagram, which is Kick in the Creatives.
So I hope it gave you the kick in the creatives you needed. Don't forget to pop over to our website at kickinthecreatives.com to find out how you can take part in some of our upcoming creative challenges. And of course, there you can also subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we'd be really grateful if you'd leave us a little review, or even just a star rating, as long as it's 5, of course. If you want to find either myself or Tara online, I'm on Instagram as Sandra.Busby, and my website is sandrabusbyart.com. Tara, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on my website, tararoscallart.com, or on Instagram and Facebook and loads of other places as Tara Roskell Art. And don't forget to check out and subscribe to our Kicking the Creatives newsletter, where you can keep up with all the challenges and the podcasts, and you can find that via our website. Also, we released a course which is on how to create characters and cartoons. It's just a fun way of creating them. You can find a link to the course on our website, or you can go to kickinthecreatives.com/cartoon course and find out a bit more.
And if you enjoy what we do and you'd like to help support Kick in the Creatives, you can now support us by buying us a coffee. And you can find the link on our website. And if you can't help us in that way, there are other things you can do. You can share our episode with other creatives or write us a nice review. It all helps. So we really do appreciate any support you can give us.
You can send us a donut and a cupcake.
I think it might be a bit ruined.
You like a cupcake, you don't like a donut.
Yeah, no, I don't like cupcakes either.
Oh, okay. Well, I know
Send me
you
some
like
sweets. I like sweets.
jelly sweets, you like, don't you?
I like Haribo and things like that. Yum,
Magnum,
yum.
but that might melt.
Yeah. Send Tara the donut.
Yeah,
Anyway,
send me the donut.
that's it for this time. We now need to talk about what we're going to talk about next time, but we'll see you 2 weeks' time.
Yep, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
So what are we going to talk about next time?
I don't know.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, perhaps you'd like to share it and leave a review for us on iTunes. Back soon. That would be even funnier.
Yeah.
I love that. And then you could just draw one that relates to shit.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the emoji. Make it have a shit emoji on his head.
I'm not sure how many of those words we can get away with.
Oh, do we need to beep?
I don't know. Probably not.
Hey, you can just use the beep I've just done.
But